Alrighty, traders, welcome back. My name is Chris. I am the Algo Man here on TikTok. And in today's session, we're going to be doing a live recap of the NASDAQ 100 futures, and we're putting CYMO Pro to work across two different time charts, okay? Actually, two different charts. A lower execution CYMO set to 7 to spot when the market might be turning into a trend. And then we'll confirm that trend using a higher time frame, or actually the same time frame, but it'll be a trend chart, okay? Now, because there's one thing that we've learned, guys, structure without confirmation is just guessing. But before we even touch the charts, you know what we do, okay? We're going to look at this chart for a second right here. We're going to roll the clock back and look at the last half hour of yesterday's session. Right here, guys, okay? The last half hour of yesterday's session. Why? Because the DNA of the open is buried right there. The behavior, the tension, the unresolved swing, it's all there. And if you're skipping that, you're walking into the day blind. So we're going to start with that. Then run the morning at 10 times the speed with CYMO set to 7 on the execution chart and watch how the ebb and flow of the market played out. Then I'll take you through the full morning session all the way till about 1:30 p.m., showing exactly where price started to coil, when it broke structure, and where CYMO told us to take the shot or stay on the sidelines, okay? So we're going to go ahead and get right back to the charts right here because this is where it matters today, okay? Market, we're going to see how it opened right now, and then we're just going to go ahead and switch everything back. The market, as you guys know, probably it opened with a sell-off, guys. And this is the way it's kind of behaved the last few sessions. If you just kind of look back at your chart, okay? Yes, it opened with the sell-off, but the move was short-lived, just like we've seen in prior sessions, okay? Short impulse, then boom, right back into cycle mode. And that's where CYMO set to 7 really shines. It lets you zoom in on the rhythm, the structure, the real behavior behind the bars. Then we'll bring in the trend chart, not to predict, but to confirm. Because we don't guess, guys, we measure here. All right, so let's go ahead and take a quick peek at what happened here before the market even opened right here on this execution chart that we have set up with CYMO set to 7, okay? Last half hour of the trading session right here from 1544 all the way to 1615 right here, okay? What was happening with the market, guys? Okay, you had a little cycle to the downside, you had a cycle to the upside right here, okay, and this little cycle to the upside ended right there, and all of a sudden you had price, which appeared to be going in the trend mode, kind of pulled price up a little bit right there, but then that faded right there, okay? This is about 1600 yesterday, right before the market closed. It faded. Momentum started just pulling everything down right there, and it went into trend mode. Check that out right there, okay? So this is where the market ended yesterday's session, in trend mode to the downside, right smack right there, okay? So you guys who have been with me for a while understand that the moment we see price revert into trend mode, the very first thing we begin to do is we begin to count the cycles, right? Where did cycle 1 begin to the downside? And this is yesterday afternoon. Well, it began right here and it ended right up here, okay? Right there. Well, if that's where cycle 1, oops, I put the wrong, I thought I had a little arrow there. Sorry about that. Okay, cycle 1 end right there. Began here, ended here. We know that because this is where the trend began, right? So if we know that this is where the trend began right here, guys, this is the end of the session right there. 1615 right there, the last bar of the day, and you have cycle coming down. Well, if that's the case, guys, what's your prediction as to where the market might open? How might the market open if cycle is below the threshold and you're already coming down, just about to begin cycle number 2 right here, okay? If you had to guess, which direction do you think the market would open in the morning? Right, guys? You know, it would likely open to the downside, okay? That would be your best guess estimate straight down. That's right, silent noise. Straight down, baby. That's right. Straight down. That's exactly what we're going to see in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to kick this bad boy off now right here. If cycle's coming down, guys, and momentum is all the way down here, and this is your cycle chart, you better believe that price is going to open to the downside, okay? Down. That's right, Samba Barbie. So let's see how it opens, okay? Let's give it a few seconds. I can't exactly get this at 9:30, but we're going to get it to roll right now as soon as it does, in just a second or two. Then I'm going to show you another really cool theme that I thought was kind of neat, that I think would help you guys. And there you go, right there. That's your first bar of the open. And sure enough, look at this. Cycle is coming down. Momentum is down right there already. So if you're at the start of cycle number 2, guys, all right there, which began right there. Cycle 1 began right there. This is the last half hour of the trading day. Cycle 1 ended there, and cycle 2 is beginning right here. What do you suppose might happen when cycle 2 hits the 0 line? Right there, okay? You're gonna get a stall in the movement. Guys, we have seen this play out time and again, okay? Session after session, where the market pretends it's gonna sell off. Let me just pause it for a second, and it stalls. Imagine, just stop for a second and imagine if you would have jumped in on this bar just to have the second bar take it all back. And I want you guys to really hone in on that, okay? This is the reason why I always wait at least the first 15 minutes of the session before jumping in, guys. Because if CYMO's already telling you what potentially might happen right out of the gate at the open, I certainly don't want to take a trade on this bar, and given how fast the open moves, okay, get filled like down here and have this bar just whipsaw me and take it all back. And I hope you guys can see that. That's really important, and it's part of your risk management plan, okay? And this is the reason why you have these tools. Always start with the last half hour of the session, okay? This is going to tell you exactly which way price is going to roll right out of the gate. So cycle number 2 ends and momentum is rising right here. Now, if cycles precede trends, what typically follows trends? Can someone put that in the comment box? Oh, come on. I know I've got some keyboard warriors out there. Exactly. Cycles. That's right. Okay? After a trend, you get a cycle. And guys, we have seen this play out time and again at the open right here, okay? You will get some type of cycle, to the upside, which will pull price up. Sometimes it just kind of consolidates a little bit, then it goes up a little bit, but you guys can see that historically on the chart. Let's keep rolling with this. If that's a cycle to the upside, then perhaps I might want to take a trade and take this bad boy to the upside. Let me just make sure. Oh, yep.
Order filled.
Momentum is rising right there, and let's go ahead and take that to the upside right there, okay? Now that I know that momentum is outside of the threshold right there, I will take that to the upside. And normally these cycles end when cycle and momentum right here kiss goodbye. That is the end right there, okay? Right there, this is where you would normally take this trade off, and normally you would have momentum kind of dip back down and follow cycle for a cycle swing. And right here, nothing is happening, okay? Momentum isn't falling. You just had cycle fall below 0, and you have momentum still rising above the 0.9 threshold right there, okay? It's not coming down. It's going up, okay? This cycle ended up turning into some type of trend move to the upside. This is the cycle component right here. You would have done well if you would have just hopped off at the cycle crossing right there. But then what happens? Instead of momentum following down with cycle, look, momentum just shot up right there, okay? So momentum shot up right there. Let's see what happens. Looks like that trade is fading. You hit your 80 bar VWAP right there. Everything seems to have stalled at your 80 bar VWAP. Pretty amazing. And momentum just died out on me right there.
Order filled.
Okay. And if momentum dies out on me, guys, I don't want to stay in that trade. It's going to fizzle out. That's where I hopped off right there. Okay. Now, I've got something else on the charts that I haven't displayed before. And it's just because I sometimes use it. I sometimes, just put it up there for illustration purposes. But here's something that you might want to consider, okay, as part of your trading process, or better said, your chart setup, okay? And this is another version of the VWAP. These white lines, I haven't shown these before. This is just another version of the VWAP right here, okay? But this version of the VWAP right here is set to 112 bar look back window right here, okay? So if you set this to 112 bars with a 1 bar resistance and the same for the bottoms multiplier, and just make the first 2 lines white and make the last one transparent, you will get exactly this line right here, okay? And let me show you exactly what this line does for you, okay? You're going to begin to notice that price is going to get caught in a channel, okay? This little channel where price gets caught in right here represents chop in the market, okay? This is one way to measure chop in the cycle, in the spectrum right here, okay? So even though the market is now cycling right here, got a little pivot trade right here to the upside, okay? It's not really moving. And you can use this tool at 110 bars back as far as your window size right there to kind of capture everything that's happening inside. Now, watch carefully, okay? This is important. If you have the 80 bar VWAP cruising along inside the orange bands right here, guys, I've always told you got to be very careful with this 80 bar VWAP because it acts as an anchor to price. Look at this. Price came up, just hit the 80 bar VWAP and stalled. And look, it just bounced around cleanly along the 80 bar VWAP, like trying to figure out what it wanted to do. Right here, you had a little spike of volatility, nothing happened. But if you put this 112 bar VWAP right here, look at how nicely it's capturing these moves. Up, down, and right there in the center. And keep an eye on it right there as it kind of just bounces around right there and shows you how price is range bound right there. And that's what matters in this setup right here, guys. These are not tradable moves in price right here. And if they're not tradable moves, it doesn't matter what's happening here or anywhere else, guys. You're not going to make any money off of any of these trades right here. There's just not enough meat on the bone, not enough momentum in price to actually move these in any significant way whatsoever. So if you want to plot this on your chart, just to kind of give you a visual as to where price might be moving, it might be a good suggestion. You don't have to, but it's just something that might keep you out of a lot of these bad trades, as you're noticing right here, that don't go anywhere. If you notice, it is really tight. It's respecting the 112 bar VWAP right there quite nicely, as it is the 80 bar VWAP right here. You see that? That's something you may want to consider as part of your setup, just to improve your understanding of what's happening with price, okay? So we're going to let that bad boy bounce around in that range channel until we actually see a move that merits taking either to the upside or the downside, okay? So the idea is that if it breaks outside of the 112 VWAP, which is the white channel, okay, then you might have a move that might be sustained. And that is as precise as you can get, guys. I mean, look at this, okay? We got out right here, out of the trade, the moment that momentum tilted down. I said, all right, fine, you got cycle 2, but if momentum's dying, that's it. There's no trade whatsoever that's left in this move, okay? And right here, now you're caught in consolidation, okay? In consolidation, guys, this setup right here will save your ass from losing money, okay? And I'm all about not losing money, okay? I don't like losing money when I trade. Who does? So having something like this on your chart could be very helpful in preventing you from taking dumb trades inside an area of consolidation, okay? So we're gonna watch this until it breaks and actually does something. We're gonna run this all the way to, like, I don't know, maybe 130 here on this little timer, and see where it breaks to give us some type of an idea as to where price might potentially take off, okay? Yeah, right? It's just one of those nice, cool little things that, you know, I play around with here, and I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to share it with you guys because I thought it was cool. I felt you guys might like it. Definitely worth looking into. And I'm going to show you something else that's cool too in just a moment. This is the dynamic VWAP right here. It should be part of your package. All you have to do is, you know, look up the dynamic VWAP version 3 and just set it to 112 bars, and change the color lines to white. All right, so right there, guys. Let me go ahead and stop it for a second. You got a breakout right there. Okay, kind of moved a little bit fast on me, but you did get a breakout right there, and now you've got momentum rising over here. Okay, it's right there at the cusp. Let me go ahead and just run it a little bit more and see whether or not this is really the start of a trend to the upside or not. Okay, right there. Okay, so let's stop it. If that's the case, we're going to go ahead and stop this bad boy right there, and we're going to go and look at this over on our trend chart. Okay, and we're going to come here to the trend chart, which is right here. All right, and what are we seeing here on this trend chart? Okay, what we're seeing here on the trend chart is we're seeing momentum rising. Momentum is rising here as well. We've got cycle that's just coming down below the zero line, which could be a cyclic rotation right there. We've got scalp mo all the way up here in exhaustion zone right here. But this bad boy seems to be going up right there, okay? That might be the start of a trend. I don't know how strong that trend is going to be. Okay, I do have my reference lines right there. We could potentially take that to the upside, since over on our cycle chart, we do have the beginning of a trend, okay? So we have this bad boy going up. It is an exhaustion zone, so we got to be careful there. This is going up, and this bad boy is going up right there. So let's see what happens.
Order filled.
We take that to the upside, and that's moving. It's moving quite nicely. Okay, we're just out of exhaustion zone right here with scalp mode, which typically means that price might start getting a little bit soft on you right there. And we've got this bad boy right here coming out of exhaustion zone as well. If I want to get kind of granular as far as the move is concerned, I can definitely pull back, okay, the cycle chart right here, and I can see that we're at the start of cycle number 2, okay? You can't really see cycle number 2 at all. It's about just getting started here on this chart, and you have a rotation of momentum going up as well, and you also have a rotation of scalp mode going up here too. So let's go ahead and track that and see how far it goes. And I would say that your trend component is going to end there, because this bad boy is all the way coming down right there too. So I wouldn't mind taking a trade off right there.
Order filled.
Okay, and being done with that little move to the upside, okay? I took this trade off for a couple reasons, guys. I didn't see a strong cycle to the upside. If you notice right here, this would have been the commencement of cycle number 2 right there. And this would have been the end of cycle number 2 right here, okay? Maybe. But look what happened. Cycle number 2, guys, never really materialized. It just sort of went horizontal along the zero line. That probably doesn't give me a lot of confidence to stay in this trade to the upside. I ideally would love to see the cycle just kind of rotate that way. Nice, okay, perfect. But heck, man, if this bad boy came up and came down right there, that's telling me that this is getting really exhausted right there already to the upside, okay? We were already in exhaustion zone right here, okay? The moment it came down from exhaustion zone right there, guys, that's telling you that remember the three phases of the trade, okay? You've got expansion, you've got exhaustion, and you've got contraction, which is kind of where price just begins to move sideways right there. And you're all the way here at the inflection point. Man, if I'm already here at the inflection point right there, and I see this bad boy come down, and I'm not really seeing a full cyclic rotation, might be a good time for me to take that trade off. Not only that, but if I bring back my cycle chart, check this out right here, okay? Cycle number 2 is absolutely over and done with right there, guys, okay? So that might be a good point right there to take the trade off. I don't know if there's anything else left as far as meat in the bone to take that trade to the upside. So let's see what happens right here. Oh, wow. Look at that pivot trade right there. That's a pivot trade, guys. Remember, if you're going to remember anything, remember that pivot trades are always short-lived, okay? Always short-lived. You see a pivot trade like that, don't chase after them because they are very short-lived. And pivot trades are normally spotted when CYMO is set to 7, okay? And sure enough, that's the end of your pivot trade right there, okay? So maybe 2-3 bars, and that's the end of it right there. Now we're back in cycle mode right there.
Order filled.
Cycle come down, and everything is back inside the threshold, which means that price is likely to revert on you right there. Okay, you're back in cycle territory right there. And because we're in cycle territory, we will take this trade off whenever cycle and momentum intersect. Right there, guys. You see that little intersect right there? That's where you want to pull the trigger on that trade to get out, okay? Let's see if there's any more rotation in that bar.
Order filled.
That's fine. I'll get out right there. And bingo. So right there where they intersect, that's the end of that trade right there. Now, here's something else that you can do, guys, whenever price goes back into cycle territory, the way it did right here on this bar when it just kind of rolled back in, okay, for a nice clean little cycle hit right there. You already saw how this works at 112 bars. Well, check this out. There's another thing that you can actually plot another version of the dynamic VWAP. This one is set to 15 bars, all right? So let's see how this works inside of the 20 bar VWAP that we have right here, all right? So what we're doing here, guys, is we're basically taking the 15 bar VWAP and we're just kind of plotting it on top of the 20 bar VWAP right here just to see where and how price moves along inside a range bound parameter, okay? The white VWAP right here is going to capture what happened in the last 112 bars. This is giving you a shorter measurement of price. It's only looking back 15 bars, okay? And let's go ahead and watch it here. The gist of this is that you're trying to see if there's any breakout either above or below that would indicate whether price is really going to take off or if it's just going to cycle the whole way through. In other words, consolidate. And I want you to notice how tightly it captures the little reversals in price. You see how price right here hit the base VWAP support for the 20 bar look back right here, okay? Just hit the base and came up, hit the 15, came right back down and hit the base. You see that? And that right there, my friends, is telling you that price is consolidating on a very tight window. Again, that's a no trade zone. That's where you kind of want to just sit in your hands and wait for a breakout and see where price really actually takes off, okay? And you got another pivot trade right here. Look at this. Nice little pivot trade to the upside. Be careful with these pivot trade, guys. These pivot trades only last about 2 or 3 bars and then they fizzle out. There's not a lot of huff and puff in these pivot trades. Began in this bar, ended right here, okay? It's one of the reasons I don't like chasing those pivot trades. There you go. You see? Using these type of setups, guys, really help give you perspective because it helps you understand what the market's doing at different times of the day, right? For example, right here, we're looking at what happened at right around noontime today. The market was consolidating. That's exactly what the market was doing right there. But you get a nice little tight 15 bar look back on this channel right here, and it's telling you that there is nothing going on. None of this is tradable right here, guys. None of it. It's just noise. All right, you did get a little bit of breakout right here on this bar, but you do have momentum going up, and I'm sorry, you have a cycle going up right here. Momentum actually just came down over here, so let's see what happens. This will be interesting to see whether or not we actually get a move to the downside right here. So let's go ahead and pause it, okay? And we're gonna go ahead and put our arrow right there, and let's go ahead and take a quick peek at our trend chart over here and see whether or not there is any huff and puff in this trade whatsoever, okay? The key is to identify the early onset of a trend, okay? So we're gonna look at this. You got cycle and momentum both coming down right here with CYMO. Okay, cool, that's good, yeah, okay. But look what's happening here with momentum, okay? Momentum is flat, guys, right there. There is nothing right here. Look at that. Check that out right there, okay? There's nothing going on right there with momentum. Not only that, but you're at an inflection point right here as well with scalp mode, okay? So if momentum is really not doing anything right there and scalp mode is at the inflection point, do you really want to take that to the downside? I think not. Okay, so that's a dud. That is not going to be a real breakout for a sustained trend right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue and see if we see another one. Okay, that's the whole goal of what we're doing right now, is we're trying to see where momentum breaks here at the lower setting with CYMO to see if there's any real move in the trend component of price that we can confirm on our trend chart and take a nice position there, either to the upside or the downside. That's what we're looking for here in the chart. We're elephant hunting, guys. Come on. We just got to be patient on days like this, guys. We just have to be patient. Okay, so we have another little pull up right there. Okay, just broke up right there to the upside. Let's go ahead and stop it right there and see how our trend chart looks. Okay. All right, our trend chart looks like there might be a little bit of breakout right there to the upside. So let's go ahead and give it a go and see if that's really going to move
Order filled.
in our direction, okay? Oh, no, that did not go the way we had initially
Order filled.
planned. So you hop out of the trade right there, okay? And that did not go as we initially planned. I mean, you just had momentum cross right there, and that was the end of it. And here on your cycle chart, you also had momentum fall from the top. So that was a dud. There was nothing there, okay? Try the indicator drawing tool tile and see if you can plot those there. Oh, you know what? I will, man. Thanks for telling me that. Thanks for suggesting it. I appreciate it. I definitely will. All right, so this trade right here didn't really go anywhere, guys. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can take another trade as soon as we get a break here with momentum, okay? All right, so we've got another break right here to the upside, which is right smack. Oh, boy. I'm going to have to learn how to do the drawing tool tile after I get out of here to find a more efficient way to plot those arrows. But I'm going to take you up on that idea right there. Okay, guys, so here we go. Here's what's happening on the trend chart, okay? Is this a setup to go long, okay? And what we have is we have momentum rising, but cycle falling, okay? We've got momentum right here rising with PMO, okay? And we've also got scalp mode that's going up, okay? But one of the things that's missing in this setup right here, okay, is cycle. And if cycle isn't going up, I do not want to take the trade to the upside, okay, guys? I want to see cycle actually moving in the direction of the trade, crossing above the zero line. If cycle isn't crossing above the zero line, guys, then I know that market structure is not going to favor the move in the direction that I'm hoping to take the trade, okay? Cycle is really important to let me know market structure, and right now it is going down right here, okay? So I'm not going to take that to the upside. I'm going to go ahead and skip that and continue with another possible entry that we might see, okay? Let's see what happens. All right, so we've got cycle and momentum coming down here on the cycle chart, okay? And we just had a little bleep to the downside right here, okay? Right right smack right there, okay? So this, let's go ahead and pause right there for a moment, come back here to our trend chart. Okay, nice. Now we got a few different components right here on our trend chart that are starting to look a little bit better than the previous trade did, okay? We've got momentum crossing below zero. We've got cycle coming down as well. And check this out, okay? This is really interesting because cycle right here, when it crossed the zero line, it gave you a 1, 2, 3, 4 bar advance notice, okay? That price was going to come down. Holy moly, how did this happen right here, okay? All of a sudden, now momentum comes down and it's right here at the cusp. It just crossed the zero line. Look at, wow, this is pretty cool, guys, okay? Look at PureMo right here, guys. Now, one of the things that's nice about PureMo is looking at, let me just get the pointer right here, is looking at the separation of the lines, okay? Normally, when these lines are separated like that, okay, this is moving with conviction to whatever direction it's pointing, okay? In this case, it's pointing down, okay? So it's moving with good conviction to the downside right here. Sometimes the lines get really tight and they're coming down really tightly together. There's not a lot of conviction in those type of trades, but right now, let's do our ABC. A, you've got CYMO right here, okay? You have momentum crossing below the zero line. You have cycle that was already about 4 bars ahead of the curve when it told you that price might be coming down right there, okay? And you've got scalp mode down here as well, okay? Granted, it's in the exhaustion zone right there, but still it is below the threshold right there, and that's what you're looking for as confirmation to take the trade right there. So let's go ahead and see if we could take a trade,
filled.
see what happens. Okay, we got confirmation. We saw the early confirmation on the cycle chart, and this is what we're looking for confirmation on the trend chart right here. So we spotted it on the cycle chart. We're confirming it here on the trend chart. Let's see where it goes. Man, this is hitting the 80 bar VWAP right here, which is always one of those things that you have to be mindful. Look what happened. Price hit the 80 bar VWAP and kind of stalled right there. It went sideways, and now you're like, holy moly, did I get in over my head on this? Okay, is the trade going to go against me? Well, let's give it one more bar and see what happens with momentum down here. Okay, momentum just came down. This is your confirmation right here that price is going into trend mode. Okay, remember that confirmation that price is going into trend mode is always a few bars after you spot it on your cycle chart. All right, guys? So here we go, right here. And it finally broke through your 80 bar VWAP, which was nice. So we're going to go ahead and let this run on the trend chart, and we're going to go ahead and let this run on the trend chart until we actually get a tilt in the purple line to the upside. Okay, so let's just go ahead and let this run. Wow, that was a good entry right there. We've got the commencement of cycle number 2 as well on here on the chart. That's just about to begin on the trend chart right there. Okay, and this is cycle number 1 right here, guys. Pretty interesting how that worked out right there. And let me go ahead and put the end of cycle number 1 right there so you can see it. All right. So right now, what you're watching, what you're looking for, if you're in a trade like this, what you want to keep in mind is you want to look at the purple line right here. The moment this purple line tilts up, it's game over. That's it, okay? This is just a confirmation tool with scalp mode down here using the cyan line to ensure that price is actually moving, with conviction, okay? So right here, here's your tilt right there.
Order filled.
That's where you buy it back. And let me go ahead and put a little arrow right there, and that's pretty much the end of the trend.
Order filled.
If you go ahead and buy that bad boy back right there, I bring this cycle chart over here. Let's go ahead and see how that would work out. And remember, guys, cycles always follow trends.
Order filled.
Okay, that's the end of it right there. That's your cycle trade to the upside. Done. Okay, and there's nothing else left in that trade. Okay.
did you see that? That's what you call precision.
And that's exactly what that is, guys. That's precision algorithmic trading for you at its best right there, okay? Let me go back and check something here on the trend chart, okay? Here we go. Sure enough, it hit, it bounced, that was it, okay? One of the things that I just kind of want to point out to you guys is that whenever, and this is just food for thought, something you want to keep maybe in a little sticky note on your desktop, okay? If you're ever confronted with the decision that, you know, let's say for example, you know, you see momentum crossing the way it did right here, a shift in momentum right here with PYRAMO as well. But let's say instead of scalp mode being below the gray box, it's right here at the 0 line, okay? That's not a trade you want to take, okay? Because whenever scalp mode right here is inside this gray region Y threshold, it's telling you that the market is cycling. There's still a cyclic component of some type right there that may not move as fast as you hope it might move, okay? So that's just kind of one of those things where you pause, reflect, and maybe not take the trade in the direction that it's going. But if it's right here at the cusp, about to go down, or if it already crossed, then yeah, you're golden, because this is where it actually, you know, really picks up steam, and it's confirming everything that you're seeing right here with CYMO and PYRAMO to take that trade to the downside. And that's how you bag one of these winners right there. And I'll just walk you guys through the logic again, okay? Because I think this is important. All right, we went ahead and spotted this right here. We actually spotted a few. We spotted this one, we spotted this one, we spotted this one as well. We went back over to the trend chart to confirm whether or not those were really getting set up to take us on that trend component of the move. And we saw that on the trend chart, and we said, no, they're not. You know, these are duds. They're not really going to take off in the direction that we hope. And sometimes they are duds, right? And you have to recognize when they're duds and just kind of wait for the next one. This one right here, it did the same thing that these past three did as well. These last three, okay? Did the same thing. It broke out. So our process is really simple when we're hunting elephants, guys. We see the breakout right here on the cycle chart. And why the cycle chart? And I'll tell you guys, for the ones who are just new here, guys, we use the cycle chart because cycles always precede trends. And you're going to hear me say that like a broken record, okay? And if you can catch the early onset of a trend in the cycle chart and confirm that it is a trend on your trend chart, then you're getting into the trade a lot earlier than you would by just waiting for the trend to happen on your trend chart. It catches it sooner, exactly. And that's what we're doing with this process. So these the previous three were there were duds, but this one right here at 1300, I mean, hot dog, man. The moment we saw it, we came right back over here to the chart, and what did we see? We saw momentum crossing below 0. We had cycle below 0 as well. We had a shift in momentum right here, which was nice, and we already had scalp mode below the gray box right here, the region Y threshold right there, which was right there. Okay, now check this out. This is where we pull the trigger to the trade. Now this is important, okay? Keep an eye on this. We pull the trigger at 1302 to take that to the downside, okay? This is where the trend chart officially confirmed that price moved into trend territory right there, okay? How many bars was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, and yeah, about 4 bars ahead of time, okay? And it's always nice to have that runway when you take a trade, guys. If you can jump into the trend 4 or 5 bars before you get confirmation on the trend chart that price moved into a trend, heck, man, you're already way ahead of the curve of anybody else seeing this, okay? What happened up here in the chart when price hit the 80 bar VWAP, this would have made a lot of people nervous, okay? Because normally when price hits the 80 bar VWAP, 2 things happen. It either stalls and bounces around, or it breaks through the 80 bar VWAP. What's the only thing that gave you confidence that this was going to break below the 80 bar VWAP? The fact that price moved into trend mode right here where I've got the red arrow. Okay. Once price moved into trend mode, you see how it stalled right here and just kind of went 2 bars to the side? That's what gave you the confidence that there was going to be continuation to the move to the downside right there. You already had PureMo, rolling all the way down here. So yeah, why not? Take the trade and jump in. And if you're concerned about price rolling against you, then put your stop loss like right here, somewhere up here. That might be a consideration if you use a stop loss of some type, okay? Right there. But then once you jump into the trade, you just kind of hang into it right there. And the moment that this bad boy tilts, that's it, guys. That's the end of the trade. And look, you had cycle 1 began here, ended here. You had cycle 2 began right here, and it ended precisely right here. Okay, right there when it touched the 0 line, that was the end of it, which is pretty much where I got out as well. You see that? And that's the reason this process matters, guys, because everything I'm showing you here today is to kind of solidify the process. If you have a sound process in your trading, your outcome is going to be a byproduct of having a good process in everything you do in life. Okay, you have a process. If you're a home inspector and you're out there inspecting homes, you have a process of how you're going to inspect that house, from floor to ceiling. You know what you're going to do. You know what the first thing you're going to look at. It's the same way in trading. If you have a systematic process that you can follow, you're going to have the outcomes that you're hoping to get in your trading. It's going to remove a lot of the emotional component out of it, okay? Notice how during the whole time, the whole 53 minutes I've been here with you guys, there hasn't been one shred of subjectivity with anything that we've done, okay? Everything is systematic and rules based, okay? And you want to have a systematic rules based system when you trade because it gets a lot of the emotion out of the way and a lot of the gut feel out of the way that trips up a lot of traders in the process of them trying to stay consistent, okay? Now, we saw today what happened at the open, guys, okay? The market sold off. The move was short-lived, just like we've seen in prior session, short impulses, and then boom, right back into cycle mode, okay? And that's where CYMO right here, guys, okay? Can't stress it enough right here, okay? That's where CYMO right here at a setting of 7 really shines, okay? It lets you zoom in on the rhythm, the structure, the real behavior behind the bars, okay? Then we brought in the trend chart. Once we saw the breakouts happen right here, okay? Not to predict, but to confirm. Because we don't guess, we measure. That's what we do, okay? And for the doubters and the fence sitters, let's be real. You've probably watched a few of these recaps by now. Maybe you've nodded your head. Maybe you thought, yeah, that looks clean, but I'm not ready yet. Well, it's May, Half the year's already gone. And you still don't have the tools. Still not sure if your setup is giving you an edge? Well, here's your shot. 7 days, free. No risk, no pressure. You get full access to CYMO Pro, Scalp Mode, Pure Mode, the Dynamic VWAP, our Discord briefings, and 2 free one-on-one sessions with me personally. Okay? And I'm telling you now, your second session is going to be where the magic happens. That's where we go deep into the CYMO mastery, okay? And we understand how the tool really, really works. Because if you understand this bad boy, guys, using tools to execute your trade and confirm your entries like PureMo or ScalpMo are second nature, okay? You'll understand everything else once you nail CYMO. It's that simple. So I'll go ahead and stop it there and take any questions you guys might have.